They planned, they improvised, and when the law closed in, they slipped through the cracks. Tonight on Power of Five, we count down 5 criminals who outsmarted the system. Smarter not because they were monsters, but because they relied on planning, psychology, and bold gambits. This is Power of Five. For each case, what they did, the clever trick that beat investigators, and the single lesson law enforcement learned afterward. Number 5. D.B. Cooper, the perfect vanish. What happened? In 1971, a man using the name Dan, or D.B. Cooper, hijacked a commercial airliner, extorted $200,000, and parachuted into the night over the Pacific Northwest, never to be confirmed again. The combination of a calm composure, a plausible backstory, and a daring mid-air escape left investigators chasing theories for decades. How he outsmarted the system. Cooper used basic but brilliant misdirection, a credible threat, quick payoff, and an exit plan nobody expected. The FBI lacked forensic leads and concrete remains, so the case became a long, unsolved mystery that exposed how limited airline and search capabilities were at the time. Why it mattered. This single act forced major changes in airline security and opened a decades-long cold case that still fascinates investigators and amateur sleuths. Number 4. The Prison Break Artist, Albert Spaggiari. What happened? In the 1970s, French robber Albert Spaggiari organized a brazen bank heist from below the vaults, then famously escaped custody with theatrical flair, including throwing a judge's document back at him and leaping to freedom in front of cameras. How he outsmarted the system. Spaggiari combined detailed reconnaissance, tunnel engineering, and an audacious escape that exploited courtroom procedure and media chaos. A perfect storm of planning and showmanship. Why it mattered. His case showed investigators that security gaps aren't just technical, they're human. Public spectacle and legal formalities can be weaponized to derail justice. Frank Abagnale Jr. What happened? In the 1960s, Frank Abagnale posed as a pilot, doctor, and lawyer while cashing forged checks across countries. He moved fast, stayed charming, and used authority as camouflage. How he outsmarted the system. Abagnale exploited institutional trust. People assume uniforms and credentials mean legitimacy, so he relied on brief interactions, speed, and a convincing persona rather than sophisticated forgeries. Why it matters. His case forced banks and institutions to strengthen identity checks and verification processes. Later, Abagnale even advised authorities on preventing the very scams he once ran. Whitey Bulger. What happened? James Whitey Bulger ran a criminal empire in Boston for decades while allegedly feeding information to corrupt law enforcement contacts. That dual role allowed him to avoid prosecution and stay one step ahead. How he outsmarted the system. Bulger turned law enforcement into unwitting protectors, cultivating insiders who leaked investigations or shut down probes. By manipulating relationships inside the system, he effectively neutered oversight. Why it matters. The Bulger saga exposed how corruption and cozy relationships inside institutions can be more dangerous than any single criminal tactic, prompting sweeping reviews of police oversight and informant handling. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. What happened? El Chapo built an international cartel, escaped maximum security prisons twice, once via a hidden laundry room route, and later through a sophisticated tunnel reaching outside the facility, before being recaptured and extradited. How he outsmarted the system. Guzmán combined bribery, deep logistics, engineering skill, and loyal insider networks. The tunnel escape under a shower stall showed planning on an industrial scale, maps, ventilation, and a rail system. Everything required to defeat physical security. Why it matters. His escapes forced corrections and prosecutors to address corruption, internal oversight, and infrastructure vulnerabilities. They also underscored that physical barriers alone aren't enough without strong internal controls. Conclusion. Across these 5 stories, the pattern is the same. Criminals exploited human trust, procedural gaps, and predictable systems. Outsmarting investigators rarely required genius, just planning, psychology, and patience. For law enforcement, the lesson endures. Tighten human processes, close verification gaps, and assume adversaries will weaponize routine procedures. If you enjoyed this countdown, like, subscribe, and tell us which case you want a deep dive on next.